Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences, and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Dumela Betsu, welcome to another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom here on our studio at Mogobe Incorporated. It's another privilege and another honor to welcome another guest, and as I said, we try to bring life-changing business education, entrepreneurial knowledge, experiential knowledge, and all the rest of it. And my guest is
Miss Ntandoyakhe Mhlanga.
Okay, welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come. Let's start off the conversation by you telling the people who you are, sharing your background.
Okay. Like I said, I'm Ntandoyakhe Mhlanga, but most people know me as Z. Ntandoyakhe means God's will, or rato la gagwe.
Wow.
Yes, and Zimbili means two because we're only two girls at home. And Mhlanga means a reed. So we grow in water. Yes, not Mhlanga. A lot of people normally say Mhlanga, but yes.
Mhlanga would mean, servant.
Yes, servant.
Not that, yeah.
No, not that, but Mhlanga. So,
it's Shona, is it?
It's Ndebele.
Ndebele,
yes,
sorry, yeah.
Yes, Ndebele. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I came to Botswana a long time ago. I've been in Botswana for over 20 years with my parents, and I have decided now to make Botswana my home.
You have an Omangas?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Hopefully it will come through. But I love being in Botswana. But basically, who am I? I'm a mother of one daughter. Yes, and I'm an entrepreneur, recently started, if I can say. I've got 2 years of running my knitting business, which started in 2020. It's called Miny and Z. And I'm also a managing partner at Mhlanga Legal, which I started in February 2022. Yeah, 2022.
This year?
This year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just walk us through your academic and, if you like, vocational background.
Okay. All right. So I'm a holder of a diploma in human rights, which I attained at the University of Northwest. It used to be UNIBO at the time. And I'm also a holder of an LLB degree, which I also got from the Northwest University. I attained it, I think, 2009. Yeah, 2009. And I also hold advanced certificate in chairing disciplinary hearings, which I got, I think it was 2017. Yeah, so that's briefly my background in
academia.
in academia, yeah.
Okay. That certificate would be similar to arbitration, is it?
Yes, or mediations. Yeah, mediations mostly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about intentionality. Can you just introduce the subject, being intentional about your dreams or what you want in life?
Okay. Yeah, I think being intentional to me is going after what you want. Going for it full force, without reservations, without fear, because a lot of times we hold back because we procrastinate a lot. And I think the reason why I'm talking about being intentional this time is maybe through the experiences that I have had. When I was younger, there were two things that I wanted to be. I wanted to either be a dietitian or be a lawyer. But because I was not good in maths and sciences, I couldn't follow the path of being a dietitian, even though I still love cooking right now. Yeah. And then being a lawyer, I think I've always had the knack for it, maybe. I love to read. My parents and my family say I love telling stories. So it also goes with, how we narrate our, clients' cases when we are in court and things like that.
To persuade a judge.
Yes, to persuade a judge. So, you have to know how to tell a story, the facts and things like that. So basically, being intentional throughout 2020, when COVID hit, I think I faced some uncertainty because I had moved to South Africa where my daughter was born. And I was a consultant for a firm in South Africa. I had moved from Botswana. I'd been in Botswana since 2010. I worked for you, by the way.
Okay.
We will get that. We will get to that.
We'll touch on that.
Yeah. So 2020, I had moved to South Africa. I had left my previous job. And I didn't really know what was going to happen because we know that in South Africa we don't necessarily practice as foreigners. But I decided to follow two of my dreams or continue my other dream. My other dream was being an attorney. So I managed to get into a consultancy for a firm called Odora and Associates, which I still consult
Odora.
for. Yes, Odora and Associates. They are based in Bloemfontein. So that made me continue with my dream of being an attorney. So even when lockdown hit, I was still able to do that from home. And then my other, that I took up was the knitting business, which is under Miny and Z. So the intentionality with those two comes in because I did not waver or set aside my dream of being an attorney. I still found a way of helping people and practicing under Odora and Associates. And then the knitting part, I was like, why sit during COVID and not do anything apart from the consultancy? So I remember my mom is a knitter as well. So when I was younger, I would assist her here and there with knitting. So I became intentional about what I wanted. I didn't want to work for anyone anymore. I wanted to now be self-employed and hopefully employ other people.
Yes. All right. Yes, you touched on this for briefly, your stint with Lerumo Mogobe Legal Practitioners.
Yes.
Without embarrassing anybody. How was it? I'm just kidding.
No, it was beautiful. Actually, that was my first job, as an attorney. From 2010 until 2015, I learned a whole lot. You threw me in the deep end, and I learned how to swim. I think that's the best way to teach people, actually. Not to spoon feed. You go out, you research, you come back, and then you say, okay, this is what I have, and you present it. And, from there onwards, I knew how to navigate the legal profession. I'm not yet an expert because you can never really know everything. But I'm glad I got the foundation from Lerumo Mogobe Legal Practitioners.
Is there any particular case, without mentioning names, which you think was pivotal in your learning experience?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we actually did a trial together. This matter was very, very stressful to us because there were a lot of technicalities that we went through. And our client was claiming damages, had been dismissed on medical grounds. And they only wanted to give him the UIF, the unemployment fund payment. But, now he was not going to work in a similar position ever find a job because he was only skilled for what he had been doing at that particular organization. So in essence, he was never going to get a job. So we managed to get him damages.
What did you learn about tenacity from that case?
Never give up. I think that's where intentionality comes in.
We were up against the big guns.
Yeah, we were up against the big guns, and they threw everything at us. They threw everything at us, but we never gave up. We always tried to find a way to help our clients. So the tenacity, I think, comes in about one, never giving up, and helping others. That's what gives me joy.
Yeah, because in that case, the guy didn't even have the funds.
No.
And we were able to negotiate a package where where we stayed with him until the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you didn't just work for Lerumo Mogobe,
Yes.
you worked for other firms?
Yes, I worked for Rahim and Company from 2015 up to 2019. Yeah, or just
How was that
before.
experience?
It was also a beautiful experience. I think I've had the most lovely employers. To be honest, yes, I've learned a lot. The aspect that I learned a lot from Rahim Khan, they threw me into the labor side of things, helping employees as well and chairing disciplinary hearings. I think that's what made me now get an advanced certificate in chairing disciplinary hearings. So I always try to make sure that our clients get the best, because I don't like people being taken advantage of. I think that is something that I really, really don't like. So I'm not saying employers are bad people, but sometimes there's elements, of taking advantage. But I think that's...
The bad players on both sides.
Yes, on both sides. Yes, there are bad players on both sides. But I think I learned how to deal with employees and employers. And at the end of the day, you would find out that some of the employers that I was up against, they'll end up being our clients. So I think it's how you also treat people. Just because the people are on the opposite side, it doesn't mean you have to be rude.
Those are your future clients.
Exactly, those are your future clients. I think that is something that I've also learned from.
Because even from the debt collection perspective, I found out over the years that a lot of people that I collected from, some of whom I litigated against, were so impressed with my performance.
Exactly.
They said, why don't you act for us?
Exactly. So I always believe in being good and kind to people of all types. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what they bring on the table. Some don't have money, but because we are in a profession where we have to do some pro bono work, you will have empathy, and then you say, you know what, this person actually has a good case. If they do not get an attorney, they might not even win or anything like that. So you end up giving your service and, like I said, helping
Is there
people.
a case you can mention from your Rahim Khan experience that sticks to mind without mentioning names that was impactful?
Wow. I'm trying to remember from the top of my head. I dealt with quite a number. But I think one that I dealt with, it was about a young lady. I think she was not yet 21, and she was married. Unfortunately,
with the consent of the parents, I hope.
Yes, there was consent of the parents, but unfortunately, there was some sort of abuse there, and it seems like her husband had sort of made her not contact the family. I've forgotten the words. But sidelined her to an extent that she doesn't have access to contacting her parents and things like that. And she now had a child with this gentleman. And unfortunately...
Not such a gentleman, I must say.
Yes, not such a gentleman in that regard. But he locked her in the house until one day she managed to get the neighbors. They stayed in a complex. She managed to get the neighbors' cell phone number, contacted the parents and told them what she was going through, because the parents were trying to get hold of her and they couldn't. So eventually when she got hold of the parents came down. They were from South Africa. They came down, they asked for our legal assistance. We had to do an urgent application. The first time we did the urgent application, the magistrate said the matter is not urgent. It tore me, because I knew what that girl was going through based on what the mother had related. We tried again until we got an order to get the police to go and fetch her. So I remember it was a Friday. We got the order around 5 in the evening. So he was not expecting us, the gentleman. So when we got there, the lady was so relieved. I remember her hugging her parents and being thankful to us for what we had done. So I think,
Even her life was in danger.
Even her life was in danger. Her life was in danger.
I assume that was the end of that marriage.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was.
Sad, isn't it?
It's very, very sad.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And you're still doing a fair amount of work. I mean, people don't know this, but last week you couldn't come because you had an emergency.
Yes.
What kind of cases are you dealing with? What kind of emergencies are you normally having? Without mentioning people's names, of course.
Yeah, that matter was to do with the threat to kill. Yeah, so I had to dash to the police station to try and find out what had happened and things like that. But we found that it was like a domestic violence case, but we managed to get the restraining order against the gentleman. Yeah.
You're dealing with a lot of gentlemen who are not so gentle.
That's a problem. GBV is a problem in Botswana. I really don't know how we can deal with it. It's very concerning, the number of deaths caused because of, relationship issues, the beatings, and sometimes it's even the women abusing the men. So I honestly hope we can really find a solution to this, because our population in Botswana is very small. So when the numbers are read out, it seems like it's a whole big thing, based on the population. So I really hope that we can find ways, even when the courts are dealing with the matter, they don't deal with them piecemeal. Sometimes they take a long time to actually hear a matter, and then you find yourself in trouble, and you are regretting why you didn't deal with it sooner, because now a person is dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just for those who don't know, what can a lawyer such as yourself do, without necessarily blowing your trumpet? But what is available? I know that we have the Domestic Violence Act,
yes,
or whatever it is, and we have a few instruments. What's available to not just women but to victims of GBV?
Yeah, now you can actually report it. I know there's a department with the police now where they can actually investigate before even taking the matter to court, and they can actually make decisions that can be binding, so that in the event that you go to court, that will act against you if you do not comply. So I think that's a start.
How do you mean?
Well, I have a matter where it's not necessarily domestic violence, but it deals with maintenance. So if the other person goes to complain at the police station that you're not paying maintenance, and then the person who's meant to pay comes back and says, but I'm not getting access, I'm not, that's the reason why. The police will sit down with you and investigate the whole situation, and whatever decision is made there is binding. Yes, on the parties.
In terms of an amendment to the Act, or?
I don't even know. That's what I have to find out. But it happened to my client.
Okay.
Yes,
it happened. It's a procedural thing. Anything else from the Act? For instance, how do you get an interdict against somebody who's threatened?
Okay, so if you want an interdict, I think mostly these ones with GBV and things like that, they are done on an urgent basis. And you can do them at the magistrate's court, not necessarily the High Court, because most of them are dealt with at the magistrate's court. So we would need to do an application on urgency. Most days it's heard on the same day that you file.
Wow.
Yes, because of the urgency in the matter. And you have to show the harm that you are facing and that it's life-threatening. And the interdict normally is to make sure that the person doesn't contact you or doesn't come within 50 meters or 100, depending on how close you are. Sometimes you work within the same environment, so it becomes difficult to enforce an interdict or a restraining order. But what they normally do is to make sure that maybe 50 meters, when you see the other person coming, obviously you take a turn. So it's an application. You make sure that you show that there's harm to your life, and that you can't be in the same environment with this person. And then it also restricts the communication. Yes, sometimes you are even made, the person who's wronged, let's just say if it's a couple, the person who's wronged can even be ordered to move out of the home.
Regardless of the ownership.
Regardless of the ownership. Yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, now let's talk about being intentional. We're now going back to our main topic of the day.
Yes.
identify your dream or what you want. Tell us about that process, perhaps using yourself as an example.
As an example, yeah. I believe we have a lot of dreams. You know, some are feasible and some are just some things that you should just throw away. But it's not bad to dream. So I think the most important part is to say, what do I want in life? You know, because we can't live a life that is not purposeful. We have to have a purpose. And I think that's what being intentional also relates to. So what is my purpose in life? What do I want to achieve? Who do I want to be? For me, like I said, when I was younger, I either wanted to be a dietitian or be an attorney. So I ensured that the courses that I took, that is even at high school, was something that were going to propel me to be what I wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So it started off with English literature. I love reading even up to now. It started with history because it looks at, you know, Roman Dutch law. You know, us as attorneys, we look at the law, where it comes from, how it has evolved. So history also looks at things like that. So those are some of the courses that I took up, and eventually, when I got to a time when I was supposed to go to high school, I remember applying at the University of Botswana when I finished my O-levels in Zimbabwe. And they gave me humanities. I refused. I'm like, I can't, because what I want to be a lawyer. I need to do LLB. So I told my parents, no, let me go back and do my A-levels. I started my A-levels in third term. Yet others started on the first term.
How did that work?
Yeah, I had to not have friends. I had to make sure that, you know what, I concentrate, I read, stay up so that I catch up with people who started in the first term and they were already in third term. So those are some of the things.
Because in Zimbabwe you had to have A-levels.
Yes.
Because here in Botswana, O-levels is sufficient.
Is sufficient, yes. So then I went back to do those A-levels, and funny enough, that third term, I was the highest in literature.
Wow.
Yeah, I caught up. I had to read 2 books which they had finished, and To Kill a Mockingbird and The Grass is Singing by Dora Lessing. I remember that book. I love it. So being intentional, when I was done, I had to go to Northwest University, and they told me because my A-level results were not yet out, I needed to do a bridging course. And I was like, okay. There was a general bridging course, and there was also a diploma in human rights. So because I knew the diploma in human rights would help me in my career as a lawyer, I decided to do that for a year. And without blowing my horn, I got a cum laude in that.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Some don't know what cum laude means.
Cum laude is a distinction.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I always knew that whenever I do something, I have to do it to the best of my abilities. And that's what being intentional is. Yeah.
Achievability of your dream, what you want. Achievability, that means what? Being realistic?
Yeah, you have to be realistic. There are some dreams that we want in our lives, but like I said, they are not feasible, you know. For example, when I started, let's just say I wanted to run my own firm at some point, but you can't come out of university and already start running your own firm. It won't work.
Some have tried,
but it's difficult, you know.
Some have tried with disastrous consequences.
Exactly, because you don't have the experience.
Mediocre.
Exactly. You see now. So it's always good to also learn from others, you know, how the other people have gone before you. What did they do in order for them to achieve their dreams? So it's also for you to link yourself with people who have experience, people who have gone before you. Also have mentors. That's something that you have to do to gauge whether your dream is achievable. So I had a mentor like you, yes. And like, honestly, you laid the foundation for my legal work, and I truly appreciate that, because I can tell from what I do and the feedback from clients that, you know what, I am doing my absolute best. And that's what being intentional is. No procrastinating. You go in there full force, and you make sure that at the end of the day, you give people what the best service.
We were at some point the most successful indigenous firm, and I was proud to have you as part of the team.
Thank you.
With the late Moses Kachke.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about him?
When I learned that he had passed away, I was in South Africa, and it really, really hurt me because he was so good, according to me. Honestly, you know, his bold voice, you know, and his big stature.
Presence,
Exactly, he had presence. So when you knew that you were dealing with senior counsel Kaji, you had to be on your A game. And that's what I liked. He kept you on your toes.
Even when we had those Friday meetings, he was always the loudest. And the most, you know, very, very impactful as a speaker.
Exactly.
All right. So are you saying people should quit if the dream is not achievable, or should they persist and try it from a different angle?
I think that's the right answer. Try it from a different angle. It's not bad if you take a step back at some point, because there's no use in you trying the same method, and the results are the same. You know, you are failing. Sometimes you need to take a step back, you know, take a breather. A breather is allowed. Take a deep breath and say, okay, I failed doing it this way. Let me go back to the drawing board, you know, because what I always say is write down the pros and cons of your dreams or what you want to achieve.
What do you mean? Find a piece of paper?
Yeah, I do that. It helps because you are able to go back and look and say, okay, Z, this is what I had wanted to achieve by 2022 at the end of the year. Okay? It's now maybe 2023. Did I achieve that? If I didn't achieve it, why didn't I achieve it?
And give an example of a pro and a con in the context in which you mean.
Okay. So for me, when I told myself at some point I want to be an employer, I want to run my own firm. The pro was, you know, I would be able to have my own time, to be able to do other things, you know. But the con comes in maybe in financing.
I know what you mean.
The financing was quite hectic. So at some point, it derailed my dream for the longest time, and also maybe even procrastinating. But the con in financing, it's not really as expensive as we think it is, but it needs financing. So I remember last year, because 2020, I had actually applied to the Law Society to start my own firm, but they delayed to respond to me.
I remember I had to write a letter.
Yes, you had. Yes, exactly. They delayed responding to me, and then I sidetracked. But when it eventually came through, I was like, okay, now.
Why do you need a letter from the Law Society when you've been a lawyer for almost 10 years?
Yeah, because they are the ones who govern us. So they wanted to make sure that the processes that, you know, because, okay, being a legal practitioner is all about ethics. It's all about making sure that, you know, you're doing things right. So they have to give approval to make sure that, you know, even for the people that I worked for, you know, there are no skeletons in the closet or things like that, because some of them, only the employer would know. So once the, you know, former employer gives approval and things like that, then I think,
Has it not anything to do with the fact that you trained in a foreign institution? Yeah,
maybe that's the other thing. I trained in South Africa, and as a result, they needed to make sure that, you know, it's legit.
Okay. So how did you overcome the cons? Because here you are, you've started your legal practice.
Firstly, I didn't know, when I was at Lerumo Mogobe, I took up a policy an investment. You know, when I was taking it up, I was thinking, you know, it's one of those things, people sell insurance and things like that. But it's the one that came in handy, because I remember my funeral cover had lapsed, and I wanted to revive it. So I went to Botswana Life, I say, okay, what do I do to revive my policy? And they told me KYC and all those things. And then they told me, do you know that you've got an investment policy that you can actually cash out? I'm like, no, you're joking. And they were like, yeah, you actually have one. So I think it was God aligning the stars for me.
That's good.
So that's what actually helped me. So, sometimes certain things, you do them.
So it was just a stop order going behind the scenes. I'd
forgotten about, and it's what helped me start up. So, guys, investments are not a bad thing.
Yeah. Especially those that are automatically being debited into account. Yes. The ones you tend to forget about.
Exactly.
They can bear fruits.
Exactly. So that's what helped me overcome that, that corn, because sometimes, you approach people and say, you know what, please finance me, and they don't believe in your dream.
As much as you do.
But that shouldn't derail you. Like I say, if you are still employed and you want to achieve certain things safe, guys, saving really, really works.
How does it work, and what percentage of your income did you save, or your salary do you save?
Yeah. Well, it depends also on the salary that you get and your commitments, but you always have to make sure, I think nothing less than 5%.
I say to the youngsters 20%.
20%, exactly. But if you go less than 5%,
especially if you have in mind investing, you save to invest.
Yeah.
I think 20% is ideal, but of course you can push it higher as time goes on.
So that you get into the rhythm of saving. Yeah.
But this top order that you had was a much smaller figure, but it still benefited
me.
Yes.
It still benefited.
Pray about the ones you decide upon. Perhaps you need to explain the importance of prayer in your life.
Yeah.
And then why you think you should pray upon the ones that you decide upon.
Yeah. I'm from a Christian family, raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. My maternal grandfather is a retired pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And growing up, it has always been an issue of prayer. Prayer for the sick, prayer for, anything that you are doing in your life. And one of the verses, or the main verse that he has imparted to us, the family, the grandchildren, we are also imparting on our children, is Matthew 6, verse 33. But seek ye first,
Matthew.
Yes. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all the things will be added unto you. And it's really proven to be something that has guided me over the years. When I was starting this firm of mine, Mhlanga Legal, and even when I started the knitting business, I say to God, you know what, God, right now I'm not really earning a salary. I'm a consultant. I've got a daughter. I know my rent and everything is paid, but I need something that's going to sustain me. Guide me. I've got this dream. If it's going to work out, please put in the right stones for me so that I can be able to step on. Show me that this is the right dream that I should pursue, because sometimes we give ourselves all the credit and we put everything on ourselves. Yet God, according to me, is the one who guides my footsteps.
According to me too.
That is
according
good.
To everyone who's wise.
Exactly, who's wise. Yeah. I always say to my friends and maybe some of the people that I encounter, that I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but anyway, I sometimes feel that if you don't put your trust in God, the things just, fall apart. Yeah. When he says, put your trust in me and everything will be fine, I have seen his hand in my family's life and in my life once we've put trust in God.
So you're at a crossroads about to decide on something.
Yeah.
So what do? You say you put that decision before God.
Yeah.
Is it you decide first or you let the heavens help you decide? How does it work?
Yeah. I say to God, I want to open my own firm. I've always wanted to have a firm, and I want to help people. You helped people, I also want to help people. So
it's
help
almost
me.
like having a conversation with your father.
Exactly.
Exactly, that's what it is.
It is, yes. So put things right for me. And like I said, with the investment, it's something, honestly, that I didn't think about. So for me, that was God showing me that this is the right way, my daughter, for you to go. Yeah. And for the knitting business,
let's talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
How it started. And how the system worked there.
Yeah. So like I said, I started it in 2020 during the lockdown. You know, you're sitting. Yes, I have quite a number of things that I do. These are headbands. Yeah, you actually put them on your head, or you can call them ear warmers. Yeah. And then
how do you wear them?
This is how you
on
wear
the
it.
ear, I mean.
No, you just put it. It's
okay.
just that my hairstyle won't allow it. Okay. But you put it on. There are different types. This is called garter stitch. Yeah, it's the main one that we use.
Tell us the roots of the business, how it started.
Well, like I said earlier, my mom used to knit. So I loved when I was in high school, sometimes knitting a scarf here and there so that I could learn, you know. And I remember in grade 7, I was in a extra mural, or is it curriculum, extramural activity? Yes, activity that I used to do, and I was in the knitting class. I remember I even exhibited some of my knitting things. I made a cat. I even made a cover for a teapot, and I exhibited them at the trade fair in Zimbabwe. I remember, I just remember that. Yeah, so
you won a prize.
I came 7th. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But it showed me that I've got potential. Yeah, exactly. So 2020, I was like, you know what? I can't be sitting. I've got so much time on my hands, because consultancy is based on when they give you...
phone rings.
Exactly, when the phone rings. So I'm like, what can I do? You know? So I went to the shops, you know, bought some knitting needles. I didn't bring them here so that I show you exactly what, you know, because sometimes people think knitting is crocheting. They are two different things.
What's the difference?
The crochet is used as a hook and it's only one, and then the knitting is like 2 needles, and then So I then decided, you know what, let me start knitting things for my family, like headbands and things like that. And then once I started that, people were like, can I please buy? Oh, did you make this, you know? And then
let's see a sample. Yes.
And then this is a neck warmer, actually. Like in winter like this, you know, it was very cold. So you wear this over your head.
Can work as a mask as well.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. It looks like a buffer, actually.
Yeah.
So then you put it around your neck. Yeah, this is actually like a neck
How long would it take to make something like this?
I can do it within a day. Yeah. Okay. I can do it within a day. And then these are actually leg warmers. So you put them on your legs, and then...
All these you made yourself?
Yeah, by hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and how is the business model? Can you explain to us how it operates?
Right now, it's a business that I am doing alone. My intention and my dream is to actually, I would love to make it handmade. That's what I would love. But I will work on whether that is feasible. So you see now, this is where my application comes in. Will it be feasible for me to do that? Because I'm also running a law firm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially if you want to scale.
Exactly.
And how much can you possibly scale
do
if it's tied to you physically?
Exactly. No, you can't. So what I can do is to maybe in part have teaching lessons or classes, teach other people so that when I have orders, at least they can assist me with those orders. Because eventually I want to have a factory. Yeah.
What is the skill level entailed in all of this, and how much concentration and how much expertise does one need?
The good part about the concentration, it's once you start, you now get the rhythm. But some of these are done through patterns. So you have to actually know how to read a pattern. You know, if they say pearl 1, what does that mean? If they say knit 1, what does that mean? and there are certain instruments that you use to make certain designs. So depending on how complex the pattern is, you would need high concentration.
So what additional instruments are needed for something like this?
This one just needs 2 needles, knitting needles.
Okay.
This one doesn't really, even this. So the complex one comes in when they have patterns, and then there are certain instruments that you would need.
So what is your hot selling items at the moment?
The headbands. Yeah.
People love them.
People love them because they don't necessarily need you to wear them in winter. You can wear them so that you just cover,
It's a fashion statement.
Fashion statement. Exactly.
What about actual,
jerseys?
Jerseys and wool warmers and so on.
I make those. Those take a bit longer. Also because you have to look at the size,
of the
individual and the amount of wool or the type of wool. This is done through chunky wool, and then this is ordinary. So if the thicker the wool, the more less time that you use you work on.
My mom used to knit, but as a hobby. But you want to obviously do it as a business.
Yes.
So I relate. I can relate.
Yeah.
So, what are the dynamics on the ground? Where is it operating from, this business? How does one take advantage of your expertise to get these things done for themselves?
All right. So currently it's online. I use Instagram and I use Facebook, Miny_and_Z. So that's the handle that you would find me on Instagram and Facebook. So what people normally do, some have my cell phone number. So some would say, you know what, I want this. And then I say, okay, you make a deposit at least, so that I can buy the wool, and then the balance would go to, the time taken and the skills and things like that. But mostly it's via, it's online.
Okay.
You would contact me online, place your order, deposit the money, and then I invoice you, give you your receipt so that we're legit. We don't want situations where you pay and then someone disappears with your money.
No.
But in any event, I will then, if you want it delivered, I would then charge you a delivery fee. If a courier is going to pick it up, things like that. But right now, I think it's just small scale. Yeah.
Do you get so far as branding the items? According to the client's requirements?
Right now, no. We just put on our label so that you know that it's done by us. But it's something that we can actually look up because, like I said, at some point, my dream is to actually have a factory where even if it's not handmade, we would have machines creating jerseys for schools, creating a store where, people would buy woolen things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've practiced law, if I'm not mistaken, on both sides of the border, South Africa and here.
Yes.
Tell us about your South African experience, and then I would really want us to compare and contrast the two environments.
Yeah. No, I think the experience in South Africa was quite exciting because, it was like I don't know anyone really. So it was a learning. Yes, it was in Joburg. But the firm that I consult for is in Bloemfontein. So imagine how it is.
Why such a vast distance? Why didn't you go to Bloem?
Because my family is in South Africa. My daughter even resides in South Africa. I didn't bring her here because of, things of taking care when I'm at work. So it's better she stays there with my sister and my niece. So, when we started, Odora, it was new. So I was actually referred by someone who was saying this lady, Hilda Odora, is starting up a firm and she actually wants someone to assist, So we met. She came down to Joburg. We met. I told her I've been practicing in Botswana. At the time, it was 10 years of practice. And she said she has 5 years of experience. So I was like, since I've practiced in Botswana, I might have clients who do work or have cases in South Africa. So maybe we can do it that way. But what I experienced with South African law is that it's very fast.
How do you mean?
you know, it's all about deadline. Not that we don't have deadlines here, but you know, people sort of like, if you don't comply, I'm telling you, the lawyers they're out to get you.
They're ruthless.
They're very ruthless. So, you know, you really, really have to be on your toes and on your feet. And the clients, they are willing to pay. As long as you do your work, they're willing to pay. Sometimes here, what I realize is that, you know, once you invoice someone opens a file, and then you say an initial deposit, they pay that. Once the deposit is done and you start invoicing, it becomes, you know, very problematic to follow up on fees. But what I realized when I was working there, people, I don't know what it is, but it was easy to follow up payment. Exactly.
Is it not the quality of clients you had?
Maybe. Maybe that's
Just
also a
mostly
thing.
corporates?
Yeah, mostly corporate. Mostly corporate. Yeah, a few individuals here and there because of reference, but yeah, mostly corporate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of the courts themselves, how are the courts compared to here?
I appeared mostly in the magistrates court because there you have to have right of appearance to appear at the High Court. You don't just appear at the High Court. So because I was sort of like a pupil, because I still have to be admitted there, I've written the board exams. I'm left with accounts, which is, if I can use the word, dribbling me.
Yeah.
But I've taken a break from accounting. I'll see it next year. So I've passed 3 of the 4 exams.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to finalize accounts. Then I will be able to then, unfortunately, I still have to do pupillage there. Yeah, even with my years this side, they won't count that.
As a dreamer that you are, do you dream of having the law firm running on both sides of the border? And is there a precedent for that?
I'm actually trying to think.
I'm now asking about achievability.
Yeah, no, achievability is possible. It's possible to do that. I think I know Mr. Rahim Khan actually has a firm here and also runs an office in Joburg through his daughter. So it's achievable. I think I can do it. It's just once I cross this hurdle of the exams and final admission, I think I'll be able to do it. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Start on your execution. That's an important point. Talk about that.
Yeah. So once you have done all the processes I've spoken about, you identify your dream, you write them down, you pray about them. Now you start. And once you start, put away the fear. Because a lot of times, because maybe you're entering a terrain that you have not entered before, it sometimes becomes, you get weighed down by a lot of things that may come. Like I said, sometimes clients don't pay on time and things like that. But once you decide to start, don't hold back. Go for it at 200% if you have to, because it's all about consistency. It's all about determination. It's all about wake up in the morning. Guys, waking up in the morning is something...
What time?
Well, I would wake up 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Go for a jog or walk. If it's too dark, maybe I will say, okay, exercise in the house or meditate, you know, so that you know what your day is going to be like, you know. But what you would have to do is plan from the previous day to say, okay, tomorrow this is what I want to achieve, right? So that you don't start from scratch on the morning of, you know, you should always have a plan. I think that's the execution.
Why do you think it's important to wake up early?
Well, besides health, you know.
Health.
Yeah, you know, they say the earliest bird catches the fattest worm, and it's very, very true. You know, business people don't have time to sit around. You know, they look at a person and they judge, whether we like it or not. They'll judge you from how you conduct yourself. They will judge you from even from what people would say. You know, no, this person is a good attorney. They would go to you. But if they say this person is never in the office,
they'll never come.
They'll never come. They call you at 8 o'clock in the morning, you are not in the office. They call you again at 9, you're not in the office. People will think that you're playing, or they'll say, Oranas Mausu, you know. So
even the Mausu has some discipline attached to it. Yeah.
Yes. So it just gives you direction. I think that is the most important thing about waking up in the morning. It gives you direction, and it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, just before other people maybe have woken up, can I twerk, my schedule, or tweak it, not twerk, tweak my schedule to make sure that, you know what, I'm able to achieve 1, 2, 3 by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you able to give an example of where execution was critical in your life and what impact it had?
Oh my goodness. Well, for us lawyers, execution is very important because we work with timelines and we work with deadlines. I remember one time, and I know my former boss doesn't know this, but you know, I was meant to go for a case in Mawoon, and unfortunately, I was late, and the plane left me. And I had, the good part was the matter was not on that same day, it was the following morning. I remember I had to get on the bus that night, got to Mawoon in the morning. So, you know, execution deals with always doing things when you're supposed to do them.
It has to do with timeliness.
Being time conscious, you know, because you will miss out on a lot of opportunities, especially for us lawyers. There are times judges will set, your matter is being heard at 9 o'clock. Try and be there at 8:50, you know, so that you also have a time to settle, check what matter is on the roll or what number.
For half an hour.
Yes, half an hour, exactly. You know, because there are times when you would get to court and then your matter is already done. You may find it's been dismissed. You may find their cost against, exactly. And
sometimes against you personally.
And, you know, clients are not happy when, you know, there are cost orders against them. No one would be. So it's all about being time conscious. Yeah.
No holding back and being intentional. I suppose this one you have to illustrate with examples where holding back can torpedo the whole plan.
Yeah. So I think holding back is all about the procrastinating. Procrastinating is bad because at the end of the day, you let opportunities pass you by. You maybe also get the wrong advice, or the advice that's meant to help you at that particular time, you sort of derail or things like that. But no holding back is you go at it full force. Once you've made your decision, once you've identified your dream, and once everything is aligned, don't start saying, no, this will not work. Oh no, I had an obstacle there. Let me, you know, scrape it off completely. Yes, you may take a different route so that you get to that same destination. But it just means for me, don't give up. I think that's the main important message.
Yeah. Never be a quitter.
Never be a quitter. Yeah. You can change route, but don't quit.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's ask you the crystal ball question. But before I do you think having a human rights component, having done a human rights diploma, has helped you? And what advice would you give others who are, you know, thinking along those lines? Should one get an additional qualification over and above the
learning
degree?
Doesn't stop. And I think you are an example. Learning doesn't stop. Because once you say, I've reached my limit, then your growth is already stunted. So getting additional degrees, getting additional qualifications, even if it's a certificate, it is something that keeps your mind working. You know, I can't claim to know everything. So if I get an opportunity to do a different course, I will do that. But for human rights, maybe I would have loved to pursue it. That's something that I would have loved to actually do, like an LLM in a master's degree. But some of the human rights issues conflict with my Christianity. I don't know how to explain it, but there are certain elements.
You mean alphabet community stuff.
Yes, and maybe, women rights, there are certain things that,
feminism.
yes, feminism, that I won't necessarily say I advocate for. But so that's the main reason maybe why I did not pursue. I'm not saying people shouldn't do it, but I'm saying for me,
You went as far as just the certificate?
Yes, yes.
All right. In terms of brand Z going forward, 10, 15, 20 years, what do you see unfold? What dreams do we have there going forward? And if you look into that crystal ball of yours.
Like firstly, for the firm, I want to be in SADC. Not only Botswana, not only South Africa. I'm also from Zimbabwe. So I would love at some point to even open a branch there. My aim is to help. I think I love helping people. Sometimes I don't charge for it, to my detriment. Because other people would say, why?
Maybe it's part of your pro deo work.
Yes,
Pro bono work.
Pro bono work. But my love for helping people would really propel me to say, okay, my dream is to be in SADC as the firm, so that I'm able to provide work for other people as well, so that they can grow. Not only that, but also maybe partnerships with other firms, so that, the more the merrier. I think one of the things our senior attorneys are not really doing is having equity partnerships. I think young people have a lot to offer. If we can give them an opportunity, I think they can amaze us, So that is something that I would want to try and offer. But we will see how it goes. It will also depend
Obviously,
on achievability.
After you've worked with the person
for some time. Yes, because you can't just give. Yes.
Yeah. All right. This is the part of the show when you get to ask me a question.
Okay. Yeah, so I see you're running a podcast. You also run Mogobe Incorporated, Simulemo. How have you managed to strike a balance to make sure that all these companies and the firm as well have your full undivided attention, if maybe we can
It's not
put it?
possible for it to be undivided. It will be divided. But if you are lucky enough, as I am, to have a very powerful team. I'm very, very fortunate. One of the things that I did as part of my personal development learning was to acquire some expertise in picking people in terms of finding personnel for certain positions. It took a long time, but it's something that I've developed over the years. I think I'm able to select the right managers for the right positions. Not always with 100% success, but by and large, team building, being able to build teams. And I must say also it's a work in progress. It doesn't mean we don't have challenges, but I think see myself not just as a manager of these companies, but as also as a manager of managers. In other words, managing and supervising others. That has helped, because each profit center has an independent manager who can make independent decisions on their own. So I think you find that with successful entrepreneurs, even if you talk to somebody like Richard Branson or Warren Buffett or anybody who's really succeeded, even Mr. Jamali, one of my mentors locally, they've found people that they've trained and they've given them autonomy to run mini businesses within the bigger business. That's the only way, in my judgment, that you can do it. But stay in touch with those people. Check on them from time to time. Trust but verify. I think that's a famous Russian proverb that was popularized by Ronald Reagan. Trust but verify.
Exactly.
So that's how it has worked out.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, thank you. Here's a camera there, Z, as we conclude our conversation. Speak to whoever is behind there and leave them with words of motivation, words of uplifting, words based on our discussion.
Okay. Hi, everyone, once again. I believe we've been through a lot the past 2 years, individually, as a country, and I think the take home and the reason why I was speaking about intentionality today is so that you guys do not give up. I think it's important that one, know who you are, because if you know who you are, no one is going to come and sidetrack you or derail your dreams. Once you know who you are, you will be able to fight the battles that are thrown at you or things that come to try and derail you. So I think it is best for us and you to never give up and to keep soldiering on. I know that you can do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now share with them all your contact details, please.
All right. So for Mhlanga Legal, you can find us at plot 205 Independence Avenue between Bokra and Bayport, next to the museum. And our landline is 316-4166. Our mobile line is 7474-6881. Our email is info@mhlangalegal, MHLANGA, legal.com. And you can visit us at any time. You can call during our office hours between 8 and 5 p.m. But in case of emergencies, please do call our mobile line. We will assist you. And you can also find us on Instagram under Mhlanga_legal. On Facebook, you can find us Mhlanga Legal as well. And then for Miny and Z, you can use the same mobile number, 7474-6881, or our South African line, +27 78 And we are available on Instagram and Facebook as Miny, MINNIE _ZIE.
Thank you very much. It was a delightful conversation.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
thank you for your time, Mom.
Okay.
Thank you.